Okay, guys, Champions League final day. I know we all want to go out there and make amends for what happened at this day last season, but also this is our fourth European final now. We're yet to win one. If we don't do it today, some people might start calling me a bottler, and I don't think I'm a bottler, okay? So let's go out there. We know we can beat Man United. We did it last year at the Club World Cup. Let's just do the exact same thing and bring home that first European title. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 155 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up in today's episode is our second Champions League final in a row. In 2034 last year we were beaten by Manchester City. This time we have to get over United in the final to try and pick up our first bit of European silverware. Before that as well, we will also do an end of European season roundup. So if you are looking forward to today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But before we do get into the end of European season roundup, very quickly, if you did miss yesterday's episode with the semi-final against PSG, I'll leave a link to that in the top right corner so you can see how we did get to this point. But we are taking on Man United. We'll have a look at these guys off the back of our end of European season roundup, which we are about to start, and we will do so by having a look at the winners of the lower UEFA competitions. First up is the Conference League. No Icelandic teams made the group stages of this competition, despite the fact there were a few at one stage who did look like they might get through the last few rounds of qualifying, so we're not going to spend too long on this one. But the winner after extra time was RB Leipzig. They defeated Porto there 3-1. After that one must have finished 1-1 at the end of 90 minutes. So RB Leipzig picked up another European title after they picked up the Europa League a few seasons ago. And we make our way up now to the Europa League, and the winners of that this year were Inter Milan. They defeated Chelsea 1-0 in the final. We did have HK in this competition. They finished last in the group. We'll go and have a look at the teams who also got out of their group so we can check in on how those guys got on. They finished last in the group with both Valencia, who were very good in what did look like quite a strong group there, and Lazio. So we'll have a quick update on those guys and how they did get on in the knockout stages. First off, of course, there was Lazio, seeing as they finished second in their group. They got knocked out by the team who dropped down from the Champions League there in Real Sociedad quite comfortably as well, 5-2 on aggregate. Then we go through to the second knockout round to see exactly how Valencia got on. They got a tough draw there, taking on the team who finished third in our group in the Champions League. That was Juventus, and they got right royally humped there, losing out 5-0 in the second knockout round. So both of the teams that did come out of HK's group got knocked out in their first matches of the knockout round, but in the end it is Inter Milan who do pick up the Europa League in 2034. And of course the Champions League final about to take place here between us, Volsungur, and Manchester United from the Puskás Arena. But before we do get into that, a quick look at the results from the top 5 leagues in Europe over this past season. And we're going to work bottom up, considering who our opposition are in this Champions League final. First off, it is Ligue 1 PSG. As we mentioned in yesterday's episode, when we played them in the semi-finals of the Champions League, they wrapped this up a long time ago, winning the league this season by 27 points over Lille. It is Ajaccio who will also pick up a Champions League spot. Apologies if I get the pronunciation wrong of that one, but certainly a team I'm not too familiar with there. Out of Ligue 1, it is Lyon and Monaco who will be in the Europa League, and Nice are going to be in the Conference League next season. The teams getting relegated are Angers, Nimes, and it will also be Reims. They have lost out there to Metz in the promotion relegation game. So that is what Ligue 1 looks like. Over now to the Bundesliga, and as you would expect, is Bayern Munich who picked this one up yet again. They finish on 80 points, 8 points clear of Hertha Berlin, with Dortmund and Cologne also making their way through to the Champions League for next season. In the Europa League, RB Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen. That Conference League win there for RB Leipzig not having any impact on where they would have played the European football next season. It is Augsburg who will be in the Conference League. The teams getting relegated, Mainz and Arminia Bielefeld, with Stuttgart winning the promotion relegation game there 2-1 on aggregate over Nuremberg. Over to Serie A, this one the closest so far that we have seen in the top 5 leagues in terms of a winner. Juventus 2 points clear of Inter, then a further 2 points back to AC Milan, and Napoli pick up the last Champions League qualifying spot as Hellas Verona and Sampdoria in the Europa League next season, and Lazio are going to be in the Conference League. The team's getting relegated out of Serie A. Venezia Atalanta, that is a big surprise all the way down there in 19th, and Spezia are the other team who are going down to Serie B. Next up is La Liga, and Barcelona here just get the job done over Real Madrid for the first time in a few seasons. They beat Klopp's team to the title by 3 points with Real Sociedad and Sevilla. Also in Champions League for next season, Valencia and Athletic Club Bilbao are going to be in the Europa League, and Atletico Madrid will be all the way down in the Conference League. The teams getting relegated are Eibar, Real Oviedo, so that's probably not a good omen for today's episode, wearing a shirt of a team who are getting relegated, and also Cultural Leonesa are the other team getting relegated from La Liga. And we go up now to the Premier League, where we're keeping a bit of an eye out on this one at the end of yesterday's episode, because Man United could still potentially have overtaken Man City to win the Premier League title, and in the end it was quite a close race, so hopefully that pays off for us here come this Champions League final. But Manchester City have won the Premier League by 2 points over Man United. Chelsea a further 6 points back, and Leicester City pick up the last Champions League qualifying spot. Arsenal and Liverpool in the Europa League, and Newcastle in the end quite comfortably secure that Conference League spot. The team's getting relegated after a few very good seasons in the Premier League. Luton Town just missed out 1 point behind Bristol City and Derby County, and Wolves go down a lot more comfortably, and that is what the top 5 leagues do look like at the end of this European season. But today it's the Champions League final, and we are taking on the Premier League runners-up in Man United. 5-star reputation club and a lot of very good facilities there at Man United. They have won the Champions League twice so far in this save, and it has always been the year after their crosstown rivals Man City win it. And of course last year we suffered defeat to Man City in the Champions League final. So going on that, Man United are due, but hopefully off the back of making the final last season, we can continue to improve and go one better and pick up our very first bit of European silverware. The other thing to note is, of course, we did beat these guys in the Club World Cup final last year, albeit that was a competition which was quite condensed. I think a lot of the Man United players were a bit more tired than we were at that stage of the season. So that's something that we might be able to call on coming into this Champions League final, but also there might have been some other mitigating circumstances there for that Club World Cup. But this is the Champions League final for 2034, Volsungur versus Man United. In terms of us, most of our players have recovered from injuries going into this one. That does mean Chaka Traore goes back out to left wing in place of Jonata, but Kenny Boreal could have started, but he's only recommended for 75 minutes. I think we'll play it safe and start Luis Herrera there. We can always bring on Kenny Boreal if he struggles out there at left back, but Herrera was quite good in that second leg against PSG, so we'll stick to that, and hopefully we can produce a similar performance with just that one change in the starting 11 with Jonata moving out there for Chaka Traore. But that is our only change to the starting 11, and an extended bench for this Champions League final does mean we have a lot of options down there should we need to call upon them. We're definitely the underdogs going into this one, but as I said, hopefully it is our turn after missing out on the Champions League final last season. We'll come back shortly, run through the team sheets, and hopefully pick up our first bit of European silverware in this Champions League final from the Puskas Arena, taking on Man United. And here are the team sheets for this year's Champions League final. As we ran through before, there is our team, just that one change from yesterday's second leg against PSG. Chaka Traore comes back in at left wing. There's a big notable addition there to Man United. Joe Corcoran in goal for them. He is a player that we sold to them, I think, last season. So very interesting to see that he has the starting goalkeeper spot over a goalkeeper who I thought was a lot better than him. So hopefully we can get the better there of the former Volsungur player. But we are underway here in the Champions League final of 2034. And up to the 18-minute mark for our first highlight of this one, it is a throw in our favour, and we start to make our way here towards the final third. So far, just one shot in that game. It was for United, albeit wasn't on target. We try and get on the attack there. It's intercepted by one of the Man United players, but they do hoof that clear, and Ali Ramadan looks to tidy things up. Hopefully, we can strike first like we did in last season's Champions League final, but this time hold on to it, especially starting off with regroup instead of counter press defensively, albeit that's a poor ball there from Kalen Rakasana. It does give Man United a chance here to hit us on the counter attack. Rashford plays that back to Motter. It's a good block there, falls to 0800, but thankfully, of all players, he puts that over the bar. Still 0-0 after 20 minutes in this Champions League final. And going forward now to the 25-minute mark, so far we are creating absolutely nothing. So we're going to do an early change here, go from regroup to counter press after 25 minutes. And only a few minutes off the back of that defensive switch, there is another highlight, and it looks like it might pay off early. A good interception there, and Chaka Traore starts to drive forward. Saki Zimmerman from a tight angle, but forces a decent save there out of the former Volsungur man, albeit he didn't play that many games for us, especially in Europe, more domestically, but Corcoran does make the save. There is a corner, but they deal with that pretty safely there. Do United, we play that back to Levan Tam. It does go all the way back, though, to Husavik, so maybe something else is going to come from this highlight as Herrera plays that 4-4 Rakasan Dumbia. Zimmerman tries to curve that top left corner like he did yesterday in the second leg against PSG, but this time the woodwork denies him. Still 0-0 with about 10 minutes left in the first half. And just shy of half time, there is about to be a free kick here for Man United. Just one man in the wall. We have seen that be not too good previously, but Bruno Fernandes can't quite sneak that inside the near side post. We clear that out for a corner. We'll just get Chaka Traore to ease off tackles after he picked up a yellow card for the foul, which did lead to that free kick. Already he's going down a little bit more than some of the other players out there as well, so Jonada might come on for him at halftime, but we do deal with that, and it looks like it's still going to be locked up here at 0-0 at halftime in this Champions League final. No argument that Man United have looked the more threatening team based on the highlights that we have seen, but we did have a good chance there to Nicholas Zimmerman. Unfortunately, hit the woodwork, albeit so did the Man United player off the back of the subsequent free kick. Jonada will come on for Traore at halftime with that yellow card, and also coming back from that injury. Jonada, pretty good for us yesterday in that second leg against PSG, so we'll get that team out here for the second half and hopefully get the job done in this last 45 minutes. And we go all the way forward now to the 63-minute mark. No highlights so far in the second half, but Nicholas Zimmerman only going okay on a 6.6 and is down to a red heart. He's been pretty good for us lately, but I think we need to take him off here. And coming on for him, of course, we have a lot of options on the bench, but I think the most sensible one is Fabio Mariano. He will come on for him with 27 minutes left, and right off the back of that sub, it's a free kick here to Man United, and Jeffrey Vincent somehow gets that past our goalkeeper at the near post, and just like that, Man United do have a lead here in this Champions League final, and there's only 26 minutes left here for us to grab an equaliser. Fernandes picks him out at the near post, and it's just high enough to avoid Husavik, and we are 1-0 down here late in this one, albeit still 25 minutes left, so not too late, and there is a highlight not too long off the back of that, and Mariano's gifted the ball, and Theo Hernandez brings him down inside the box. Surely that is going to be a penalty, which will give us a massive chance here to get the scoreline back to all square with 25 minutes left. We are waiting for VAR. He correctly awards that one, and Kalen Rakasan with the biggest penalty spot kick he has had so far in his career to try and equal the scorelines here, and he beats Corcoran in goal, puts that in the right corner, and with 24 minutes left just after going down, we get this back to 1-1. Kalen Rakasan off the back of the penalty, which was earned by Fabio Mariano, albeit off the back of a sloppy pass from Man United, puts it away, and it is 1-1 with 24 minutes left. And we go forward now to the 69-minute mark. We're going to make our last substitution of regular time. Lassana Doumbia down to a red heart, only going okay. Karel Giroux will come on for him, still locked up here with just under 20 minutes left. And we've managed to get forward now to the 80-minute mark. I think we could use a little bit of a change here in terms of our defence. Man United starting to get on top of us, will be more disciplined sometimes. That actually works late in games where we can pick up goals. We'll also regroup as well, just to make sure that we're not going to do anything too silly and at least take this game to extra time, but still locked up here with 10 minutes left. And we have just entered injury time in this Champions League final. It does look like we might be heading to extra time for this one, but I think what we're going to do here is Man United certainly getting on top of us inside this last 10 minutes. We'll just undo those things which we did do before, go back to a counter press. Of course, it did work for us in the Club World Cup final against these guys last season, but it is going to be extra time here in this season's Champions League final. We got the equaliser for a penalty right off the back of conceding one there at the 65-minute mark, and that does mean we do get one extra substitution. A lot of players out there on Red Hearts. The one who is struggling the most is Levan Tam. We have two options on the bench who can cover for him, both Kenny Boreal and Ian Carlo. Kenny Boreal, definitely the better player, can play right back, so I think we'll see what Kenny Boreal can do here in this last half hour. Just make sure, but he does look like the best substitution. That's all of our subs used. A half hour of extra time here to try and grab a winner and bring home our first Champions League title. And 9 minutes into extra time, we have the first highlight of it, a free kick here inside our own half. We try and get something going here from the left-hand side, but are still inside our own half. But Kalen Rakasan takes his time, picks out Louis Herrera, plays that back to Ali Ramadan. A goal here would be massive and take away the lottery of penalties. That would be very nice indeed, albeit we have already scored one in this game, which would hopefully give us a confidence boost, especially against the goalkeeper we do know quite well in Joe Corcoran. We pump this deep. Somehow Adam Saki is in behind there, but Corcoran just does enough, but we are still on the attack here. Basaroge plays it to Fabio Mariano. Nice ball. Big chance here for Jonata, but Corcoran pulls off a good save there, the former Volsungur man, and keeps it at 1-1 with 5 minutes left in the first half of extra time. And that is half time and extra time. Just that one highlight. Big chance there to Jonata, but a good save from our former man in Corcoran. So we kick off the second half of extra time, still locked up at 1-1, 15 minutes left before this goes to penalties. And with about 5 minutes left before this one does go to penalties, we're going to up the tempo just a little bit to see if anything does happen here before this does, as I said, probably go to penalties. A late free kick here. Can we put this in the back of the net? Kalen Rakasan got us back into this one from the penalty spot. Tries to put this back of the net, but that is just over the bar. And we are still locked up here inside the last few minutes of extra time. We have picked up a few late yellow cards in this one, but we haven't got anyone to ease off tackles this late. But the Champions League final is going to penalties. We'll sort the order out, come back with that, and hopefully get the job done from the spot here to bring home our first Champions League title. And here is the order for our penalty takers here in the shootout in the Champions League final, pretty much mirroring what you see there on the right-hand side, with a few changes there, just deciding which players do have better finishing as well as composure and penalty taking. Jonata 10th and Will Lurvik 11th, but that is what our penalty takers do look like here for this Champions League final. We'll tell the boys to relax, pick their spot, don't change their mind, and hopefully that does the job for us here in this penalty shootout. We'll also try and get some players here like Boreal and Jonata just a little bit less anxious by hopefully telling them that there's no pressure, albeit so far it doesn't look like that is working, albeit they're in positions where hopefully they're not going to be called upon in 8th and 10th. But this penalty shootout will get underway, and first up for Man United is Bruno Fernandes. Came close with a free kick there in the first half. Will Lurvik does go the right way in what could potentially be his last Champions League game, with Cal Vollen having joined the club, but doesn't quite get there. Kalen Rakasan scored a penalty for us in regular time, but unfortunately Corcoran makes a save. He tried to send the goalkeeper the wrong way. It didn't work, and that is a disastrous start for us there, albeit only 1-0 down. Hopefully we can find a way back into this, but Jadon Sancho hammers the advantage home, and it is 2-0, and already we're getting quite close here to must-score territory. Next up, Adam Saki, a little bit quiet in the latter stages of the Champions League, and yet again Joe Corcoran must have done a lot of penalty training when he was here, because that is 2 saves in a row. We need to save this one. Theo Hernandez goes straight down the middle, and Will Lurvik saves that. So far, it's been a penalty shootout full of woes, but if Fabio Mariano can score this one, we are still in with a shot. The Italian off the bench, he goes and tries to put that the right side, but that is free, misses from free, and just like that, Man United get a couple of chances here to win the Champions League. It is going to be Jude Bellingham from the spot, and if he scores this, we miss out in a penalty shootout, thanks to our former goalkeeper saving 3 of our penalties, which is going to be really disappointing. But Jude Bellingham steps up. He sends Will Lurvik the wrong way, and the former Volsungur goalkeeper, even though he didn't actually play that much for us, just a few games domestically, but he comes up big in the penalty shootout. Our 3 big guys from the penalty spot did not. You just can't miss 3 penalties in a penalty shootout, especially when you're the first 3 takers, and yet again we get defeated in the Champions League final. And like usual, after Man City win the Champions League, Man United come back and win it the next season. Some very dodgy stuff going on there potentially in that penalty shootout with that in mind, but that was an awful one from us. Will Lervik pulling out one save, a decent save, saving one of 4. Not too bad, but we missed 3. You just can't do that, and that's really disappointing after we took that game. 2 penalties, a big chance in extra time there too, to Jonata, but Corcoran pulled off a big save there and saved all 3 penalties in that shootout. We had a higher XG over the game, albeit I think a lot of that is down to our penalty in regular time. And in the end, we missed out on the Champions League yet again in the final for a second straight season, this time on penalties, to Man United missing out in the shootout 3-0. And back in the inbox off the back of that Champions League final, missing out after a woeful effort from the spot, or a couple of efforts from the spot there in that penalty shootout, only made worse by the fact that Joe Corcoran saved all 3 penalties after we sold him to Man United a season or 2 ago for about £11.5 million. Yeah, that stings a little bit, it's fair to say, and yet again we missed out on the Champions League final there, this time on penalties though, which is a little bit more harsh than last season, albeit we do get a couple of very good paydays off the back of that. We go up to the Champions League review. Man United win it. We were the biggest overachievers, but in the end, doesn't really mean that much when we came so close, albeit both Adam Saki, top goal scorer, and Lassana Doumbia, top assist maker, but we couldn't quite kick on when it counted, and that does mean that we miss out yet again. And it could be interesting to see how we do get on next season, because of course, as we mentioned at the end of last week, we're probably going to move on a few players at the end of this European season. So that's what I'm going to do before we do come back for the next episode. While we're also on it, we'll have a quick check in on the coefficient. It's been a little while since we did check in on this, but I think we're in line here to hold our spot come the end of this European season. The Czech Republic had a very good season down there in 14th. They will be on a 43.1, so they are definitely going to go above us, but we also have done enough to jump above Serbia, and we hold ground on the others in and around us. So that means that next season, yet again, we are going to be 11th on the coefficient table, so no change to what's happening in a season from now compared to what we are going to start off with come the start of the new European season. So holding our ground there in 11th, still haven't quite nailed down an automatic group spot there in the Champions League, but hopefully we can improve on that. You can already see there, in fact, the fact that we have 2.1 less points from last season. That shows how important the points that we were picking up in that second qualifying round and third qualifying round were on the coefficient table over those last couple of seasons compared to this season, where we just entered in the Champions League playoff. But unfortunately, yet again, we miss out on the Champions League final this time, thanks to penalties. And as I said, our former Volsungur goalkeeper and Joe Corcoran, will be interesting to actually see why he was starting that game, because you have a look at Manchester United and their starting goalkeeper is certainly a lot better than Joe Corcoran. A quick look at Corcoran. He has 2.5-star current ability, 3-star potential, but you're going to have a look at the Man United team itself, and the usual goalkeeper, Ismail Ardine. He is a very good goalkeeper. It's not too sure why he wasn't starting that Champions League final, albeit in the end it did not matter because Corcoran did get the job done, and that one does sting. We'll just go forward a little bit, see if anything else does come up before we do wrap up today's episode and the end of this European season. And we've gone forward a few days off the back of that Champions League final, not much happening, and we are about to have a big domestic break as well. That is because the FIFA World Cup is about to take place. As you can see on screen, there are all of the players here at Volsungur who are going to the World Cup, albeit all of them might not still be here the next time that we do see. We might try and offload a few of them and try and bring some good youth through here at the club. I think it might be time off the back of a few disappointing Champions League losses, try and get rid of some players who might not enjoy big matches. That might be where we are going wrong. And yeah, try and fix what has gone wrong the last few seasons, even though we are still doing quite a good job making these Champions League finals. But as you can see, a lot of players are on their way to the World Cup, and we'll come back and see how those guys did get on in the next episode, albeit I'm not too sure exactly when that will be. You can see domestically off the back of that second leg of the Champions League semi-final and off the back of that final, we have been in decent form in the league, so we are top of the table. But no doubt, while that World Cup does go on, we are going to fall behind because other teams will be able to play through that World Cup while we cannot, with all of those players who will be on international duty. But as you can see, not many games for us there in June, so we'll probably come back at some stage in July, run you guys through what's happened so far in terms of us trying to move a few players around. Might introduce you guys to some new signings as well, and may also get to a stage where we can check in on how some of the other Icelandic teams are getting on in the earlier rounds of European qualifying as well. But we'll see what happens over the next little while before I can come back for the next episode, hopefully tomorrow, but it's going to be a little while till we get to the stage where we can play a Champions League playoff, especially the fact that we are looking to get rid of a few players in this transfer window, which is about to open up here domestically. But that will do it for today's episode. We missed out on the Champions League thanks to our former goalkeeper on penalties. If you did enjoy that episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. And until the next time I see you, as I said, probably sometime in July for a little bit of an update, and maybe we'll come back for a game against HK or something. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.